here is the newest and current, as of this recording, the Nintendo Switch. This, a lot of people are saying great positive things. In my opinion is, yeah, I can agree to some of them, but there are also some cons to it. But at the same time, again, like I already mentioned, I've been playing this more than I have with my other handheld, and it's not my favorite, but I've been playing a mess out of it, and so far it is good. It's a godsend. Now, a lot of people will describe the Nintendo Switch as the jack of all trades. Me, I describe the Nintendo Switch as Nintendo's middle finger. I'm not joking. And who's this middle finger towards? It's towards its competition, and it's also towards us, the consumer. Now, it's both a good and bad thing, but it's also really, really cool. That's why I like it. I mean, think about it. For the longest time, Nintendo always tried to outdo themselves or try to be the one to get ahead, before everybody else. And you could sort of thank Sega for that one, because Sega, way back when it was Sega versus Nintendo, the old commercial where it says, "We do what Nintendo don't." I mean, Sega used to always propel them to try to, outdo themselves in terms of competition. They still have that mindset, even though Sega is only a video game making company. I wish Sega made consoles again, because there are some IPs I would definitely like to play again, like Streets of Rage. But anyway, the Nintendo Switch. Remember a couple years back when they did the Nintendo Wii, and everybody was like, "Oh, that is very gimmicky." You can tell it's strictly made for kids. Even the other companies, Sony and Microsoft, was laughing at Nintendo like, "Oh, yeah, you're going to sell, but you ain't going to sell large numbers like us." And Nintendo was like, "Well, yeah, but at least we're doing something you're not doing." And then they're like, "Yeah, let's see how long that lasts." And what ended up happening? Not only Nintendo showed they can persevere with the Nintendo Wii, but it became so popular to the point where Sony and Microsoft made their version of the nunchuck. Yeah, they were the ones that were pointing at Nintendo was like, "Nerds." But now they were like, "Oh shit, we gotta get in on that." You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting. Now, as you can see for this Nintendo Switch, I mean, it's good to see that they still continue that mindset. This is where you can put your game cart, and I like the fact that there's a cover instead of just an open gap hole. Here, there's a power button and a volume, and there's a reason why I was mentioning the volume on these consoles. Before I get to that, as you can see, a little nod to the, obviously they got the inspiration from the PlayStation, so you got the trigger and the bumper on both, which is kind of cool, but for the volume, dude, seriously. Right here, and also here on the back, yeah, when you want this thing to be loud, it will be loud. If you want it to be low or medium, it will be like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem." The volume on this thing is amazing. Now, some people will describe, "Oh, all it is just a tablet with two controls on the side." That's a decent description, but there's more to it. And yeah, it has a stand on the back, and you can also put in an SD card. It's under the stand, so I don't feel like opening it because, that's going to be a hassle with one hand. But other than that, you can literally take these Joy-Con, the controllers, out. You see that black button right there? Same thing right here. Push them in and you slide it up, and you can literally use the stand to hold up this tablet and just play it. And these two Joy-Con can function as two separate controllers, or they can function as one. Now, it has accessories that can literally make it's a genius idea. You don't have to play this as a handheld. I mean, it is basically a handheld, no joke. It's portable, it's really good, it's fun. But the reason why, reason why it's a Switch is because you can turn this handheld into a home-based console by using its charging dock / home dock, where you can connect it to your TV, and bam, you literally got a home-based console. This is a walking, moving, home-based, well, not walking, moving. This is a mobile home-based console if you turn it that way. The stand, you can use this stand if you don't feel like holding it, like say you're getting tired or you want to use your hand for other stuff, or you just want to relax, you don't feel like holding this thing, because it does have a bit of a weight. It's not heavy, but it's, it's pretty decent. You don't feel like holding it, you can just put it on the stand, take the Joy-Cons out, and just connect it to the this handheld connector. It's kind of like a controller that converts them into one controller, or you can literally use one of these separately. It's basically two controllers. Like, you can literally use one, give somebody else the other, and y'all can play like two-player games, whether it's like a fighting game or a side-scrolling game or adventure game. It depends on the game that you install in the Switch, whether it's through the SD card or you download it digitally. Now, one of the major pro is the size of this screen. No longer you have to deal with the two screens, whether they're two different sizes or even if they're the same sizes. There's nothing that is breaking up the visual of the game. You don't see no bars separating anything, unless you got games where they have this more like a panel work. Then it makes sense. You're gonna see some panel style gaming. But overall, oh, by the way, that's just a glare. Nothing cracked. It's very clean. I take care of my stuff. But overall, it is very, very good. It is very fun too. You can take pictures within the game. That's what this button is for. This is the home button. I already showed you where the power button, which is up here. The speaker. You can put in a jack. And you actually got two ways of charging this. You could use the charging dock that I already mentioned. It's also a home-based dock. And Nintendo even gave you a charger that you don't have to connect to your charging dock. It can manually charge right through here on the bottom. And like I said, this whole thing is like ingenious. Like I said, it's the reason why I look at it as Nintendo's middle finger is because they're looking at both Microsoft and Sony like, okay, we know we are known for just having a home-based console and then having a handheld. They combined it into one. Genius. So that's their middle finger saying, screw you guys for thinking we're going to, continue on that, trend that we built on. Another thing is, right now they have a Nintendo Switch Lite, where it's literally like this. It's basically this Nintendo Switch, except the Joy-Con are built in with the screen, so it's not removable. And obviously, it's a lot lighter, and I think it may be smaller, but I'm not sure. I only seen a demo of it once in a store, and I never had this Switch with me at the time, so I can't really tell. But that's Nintendo way of having a middle finger, like, hey. You with the kids, yeah, the one that's annoying you about having a home-based console. You can either get a home-based console or the handheld. Guess what? Here's my middle finger. You're gonna get this. And it's like I said, it's beneficial for us. We're like, fuck that noise. Get this to calm them down. And it's good for if you're traveling. I mean, it's so much pros. Cons, again, there's nothing really protecting this screen unless you get the screen protector and you take really, really good care of your Switch. That will be beneficial. Another thing, where you place your charging dock is very important, because if it falls when you have the Switch in there, whether you're playing it home-based style or just using it as a charging dock, if it falls, you're SOL. The stand back here, it's only a certain angle where it will hold up the Switch. If it goes beyond that, it's gonna snap off. But you can obviously put it back on. But like anything else, if something keep constantly popping off and you have to re-snap it back on so many times, eventually it's going to wear out and then it's going to be like not being in place forever. The Joy-Con, they can, even though they're cool and everything, they can be broken. It depends on how well you handle them. So you got to be careful on that. But other than that, the Nintendo Switch, yeah, I hands the most fun. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely the most fun that I enjoy, in terms of handheld gaming. Now, with that out the way, on to